After 41 years, the wait at Kings Island is finally over. I wrote it, and I couldn't be more excited to break down everything you can expect and how it compares, but also what it means for the park. You're known around the globe as one of the best parks in the world. You started off so strong, but ever since I was born, you seem to always be late to the game. Your suspended coaster? It was the last to ever be constructed by Orion. And 3 of your best rides, Diamondback, Banshee, and Mystic Timbers, all came 21 years after the first of their kind was built. But that's okay, because your suspended coaster is one of the last ones in existence, and I'll take it over Iron Dragon at Cedar Point any day. Your Hyper Diamondback, it consistently ranks among the greats year after year. And Banshee, it's legit one of the better inverts in existence, even if people want to complain about the comfortable restraints. Everyone wanted to laugh before they rode Mystic Timbers, but now, it's the blueprint for an out-and-back GCI. Having a strong collection has never been the issue. If this is your home park, you respect the beast and appreciate everything it's meant to the history of Kings Island. But you've been waiting so long for a new identity coaster, one that could finally slow down the sales of beast merchandise. That's not so much to ask. We've watched Cedar Point do it 4 times, but the closest you ever came was 21 years after the original. That gear, however, it sits beside Vortex in the gift shop. But on August 15th, 2019, that would all change. Kinda. I got to Kings Island at 10 o'clock that morning, and to my surprise, getting into the park was very efficient and quick. By 10:40, I had made my way down to Area 72. Luckily, they were handing out access cards to ride Orion, and I happened to get one for the 11 to 12 o'clock time slot. This is a great way to do it because it keeps you from having to wait in a line for hours. When I go to a park, I have to balance both riding and getting footage, so being efficient with my time is very important. I was pretty sure that everyone with that card would get in line from 11 to 11:15, so I decided to use it at 11:50, and to my surprise, it worked just as planned. I walked through the queue and only had to wait for one train. Now, I don't know if this will always be the case or if I just got lucky. Walking through the queue area, it came very clear to me that Orion is the best themed Giga coaster that I've ever seen. They really did such a good job with everything. Before you even enter Area 72, you have to walk past a car that's owned by this radio station called Weird Radio. And they're kind of telling you all these theories about everything going on.
See, people just need to understand. I've known about this for a long time.
I did this trip in a single day, driving, riding Orion, and filming, so I only had time for one ride. I was assigned row 4. Kings Island was running all 3 trains, and the operations were about the most efficient I've ever seen. Okay, so we started up that lift hill, and it was climbing at about the same speed as Fury. But when we got to the top, it really slowed down to almost a crawl. I was really worried it was going to take away from that first drop. Absolutely not the case. I got solid air from the moment it started all the way until it leveled off at the bottom. I even thought it had a stronger drop than Fury. Seriously, it lasted forever. But up next was the moment I was most excited about, a 174-foot tall wave turn. I was expecting it to feel very similar to the unique floater you get on Lightning Rod from Dollywood, but that wasn't the case at all. It felt nothing like it. You see, even though the track has a really good angle to it, the overall hill itself, it seems to not be quite vertical, as where lightning rod literally pops the train out at the same time. But either way, I didn't get any floater here, but it was still a really unique experience. It's like your body is being forced over to the side. I really enjoyed it. Next up was a 202 foot tall turnaround. Now there was no real surprise here, and it did feel pretty basic, but it does give a really rare view of the backside of the beast that's hidden deep in the woods. Okay, so this next element completely shattered every expectation I had before riding. I would even go as far to say it was the single greatest moment on any Giga coaster. This 56 foot tall speed hill. You were launched upward for some serious air. So think about that second hill on I-305 as a starting point. That one is really long and drawn out, and it's also about 150 foot tall. And it does give some good floater. Now think about replacing I-305's over-the-shoulder restraints with the B&M clamshell design. Are you getting excited yet? Well, now you have to lower I-305's heel all the way down to just 56 foot and make it a little quicker and more compact, just not so drawn out. You seriously hit this hill with so much speed, and you're literally skimming the ground before and after. To me, it was even better than the first drop. Up next was a 147 foot tall hill, and yes, that trim did hit pretty good for my ride. Still giving me a little floater, but not what you would expect from a hill of this size. And the helix pulls some strong positive G's from the start all the way to the finish. And these last two pops at the end, they provided some solid and unexpected air. So I know some people will say it's not long enough, but it really didn't leave me with that feeling. Maybe one extra element would have been nice, but this thing hauls from start to finish with no mid-course brake run in the middle to take your momentum. I do think it would have been a little better if the wave turn had faced the park, but it does give that feeling of being in the woods, so that works too. Everyone has and will continue to compare this to all the others, but let's be real here. It's not like they're perfect. Millennium Force is just fast and it's got a great view. With the exception of the front seat, I-305 isn't the smoothest thing in the world anymore. And Fury may be one of the best coasters ever built, but let's be real, what does it even do during the last 1,500 foot of track? I can say Orion holds its own, but I need more rides in order to decide which one's the best. But it does look to me like after 41 years, Kings Island may finally sell more t-shirts with a coaster not named the Beast. And if you love roller coasters as much as me, check out my top 10 most underrated. If I said tell me the first three things that come to your mind when I say Knoebels, you would probably tell me Phoenix, free admission, and the food. But I doubt very seriously that you would bring up Twister. In fact, before I even rode this ride, I never heard a single person speak of it. After taking a quick look at it, I got on expecting a very rough and lacking ride. But to my surprise, it had that classic wood coaster feel to it, and it was quite snappy.